What do you think would be the most inappropriate place to have sex? My friend had sex on the sofa under covers while they watched a movie with the girl's father. Wait, what? Your friend had sex with the girl's father? Where she was buried? In a bed with other people present, unless they wanna join and then have fun. After watching Game of Thrones? I'm not sure. Remembrance Day or Veterans Day in the USA at the ceremony. Right next to Justin Trudeau. In the car on the way to Grandma's funeral. I did have sex on an outdoor playground. In the middle of a neighborhood. It was around midnight. No, there were no kids around. We were both about 19 to 20. Church. Was a fantasy come true. At the abortion clinic. In and out. In the belly button. In front of all of the women in that village from Midsummer. On hot coals. The ones that people firewalk over. In a coffin with a body. At a child's birthday party. It's also the perfect place in a way. Normal sex. Hide in the bathroom. You like public stuff. Him in front of the whole party. Masochist. Bam. Hot candle wax from the cake. Mid-engagement snack. Why not bang on the cake? Hate the kid and into kinky shit. Bam. Cake farts. Desire to be sodomized. Let them call the police and you get to go to jail. Bam. Perfect place albeit inappropriate. In a stoma. At the baby shower. Plane. Right as boarding begins. In the hallway. Not only is it public sex in a commercially owned vehicle and breaking the mile high before the plane even takes off, it is humiliating for everyone involved and brings the awkwardness of people being unable to board. Bonus points if security people intervenes, causing panic, and releasing bomb detection security measures and thus crippling the airport from takeoffs and landings and rerouting the whole country's airlines and delaying thousands of people in their businesses and private affairs. It is inappropriate on 3 levels. So in youth group, the boys asked the priest, not Catholic, so calm down if it was against the rules to have sex in a church. The priest's response was as long as it's X feet away from the altar. It's fine. I want to say 6 feet, but I can't remember. Source. Episcopal. On the witness stand in the middle of court. Edit. Some of you have brought up a great piece of history known as the impotence trials where a woman could divorce her husband if he wasn't able to get it up in front of people in court. I just want all of you to think what it would be like to be a court stenographer during such trial. Exhibit D. Your Honor. Pediatric ICU. I worked in a PICU for a while. I am pretty sure we caught a girl 17F while her boyfriend was trying to get it in while she was in the hospital bed. I got to tell them there was a camera in the room. There's video of a couple on the Ferris wheel at California Adventure. In broad daylight. Wherever you want mostly, but goddamn. Not at a Disney theme park where kids can see. Yuck. In a sex addict recovery meeting. On the gallows where they hang adulterers. The altar of St. Peter's Basilica. In front of both partners' parents. Are ya winning, son? The Chuck E. Cheese arcade. Inside a cage in one of the deportation centers in the Mexico-US border. Planned Parenthood. No one will see this, but my wife and I had sex under a Sonic the Hedgehog basketball game in an arcade once. One I actually saw happen was a trashy couple in a lake. Water was chest high in plain view of a lakeside restaurant full of people. They were hiding it, but most of the patrons eventually noticed and a few college guys cheered when they finished. It was an awkward family outing for me. An elevator. It's wrong on so many levels. Like, in the back of a Volkswagen? On Nana grave. When I was 15 I was dating a Jewish boy I met at summer camp. He took me to his synagogue and we snuck away from the others. Went upstairs into a broom closet and I let him finger me. So yeah, I got finger banged in a synagogue and we did it more than once. That seems like a real inappropriate place. Someone else's bedroom. Not even a relative or roommate of the two. Just some random guy who walks into his own home and finds these random people having sex in their bedroom not knowing who, why, and how. A surgery operation theater while a surgery is being performed. That'd be in the butt. Bob. Asterisk sigh. Showing my age here. In the delivery room. And that, little Johnny, is where the dent in your head came from. A girlfriend of mine let her husband f her in the bathroom at the hospital when she was in the early stages of labor to quote, help things along. He later told her he really did it because she wasn't going to be able to have sex for a while, and knew she wasn't going to want to do butt stuff after getting home from the hospital. The park. At least that's what the judge said. That scene from the ending of Dr. Strangelove where he is riding the atom bomb. On the dropping atom bomb, I'd guess. A stab wound. In the baptism pool. It's not a hyperbole like the rest of this, but people need to stop in restaurant kitchens. Had a couple people at work have sex in their SUV in the aisle closest to the damn turnstiles on the way into work. My coworker went and banged on their window, then Central Security went out and dealt with the problem. The same couple proceeded to do the same thing at lunch, just further down the parking aisles in the same SUV. 2 jobs were hopefully lost yesterday. In the ball pit at McDonald's. As someone who has worked at both a theme park and an escape room, please know there are cameras in places you may not realize. I get it if you are an exhibitionist, but please make sure there is consent on the part of the people who have to watch. In my granddad's colostomy bag. Elementary school hallway. Mrs. Crabapple and Principal Skinner were in the closet making babies, and I saw one of the babies and the baby looked at me. Ralph Wiggum. Right on top of this lazy thread. On a playground. A church. You wouldn't a car. In your girlfriend's mom's bed, while she's wearing her mom's sexy outfits, and you think her mom isn't coming home until much later in the evening. Source. Yup. My bed apparently. Well, I personally have had lesbian sex in a Catholic church bathroom before, so probably that. I am absolutely going to hell. Tears of joy. There's a reason the Notre Dame caught fire last year. What are you doing, Step Quasimodo? On your mother's grave. But that didn't stop Mary Shelley. In the skytubes from Chuck E. Cheese. The balls are supposed to stay in the pit. Where do you think I'm trying to put them? I know someone who chose a child's outdoor play area, on the wooden climbing toy with a slide. Zoo with the animals. Dicks out for Harambe. In the delivery room while the baby is being born. Our parents' bed. At our parents' funeral. Hole up. A couple had been trying to get pregnant for some time. After a thorough exam, the doctor said we can't find anything wrong with either of you biologically speaking. However, I have known cases where simple stress got in the way of conception. Your bodies know what to do. It's really important for you to relax and make sure to make love when the mood strikes. Sure enough, the couple was back 6 weeks later and the test was positive. It was just like you said, Doc. One night at dinner, I caught her eye and we just knew the time was right then. We did it right under the table. I told you your bodies knew best, replied the doctor. Of course. We can probably never go back to that restaurant again, the wife added. Her funeral. Cockpit of a plane. Auschwitz. Probably a funeral. Or at a daycare. SeaWorld on the pool with the whales watching and judging you. I work in social services. We had a child in our care that had significant medical issues as an infant. The parents were thrown out of the hospital for having sex in his NICU room. Playground. We've had parents have sex behind the curtain in their child's hospital room in the pediatric ICU where I work. About as inappropriate as it gets. Hitler's bunker. In the ear. The demilitarized zone border in Korea. In front of the guards. Donation trailer parked in the parking lot of a Mormon church. If you think that sounds weirdly specific, it's because it is smiling face smirk smirk. On top of my parents. All covered with cheese. At your child's funeral. Asterisk angry Lannister noises. The back of a Volkswagen. I'd say a children's movie just because it's probably the most feasible IRL. You can very easily get caught at a funeral. Or school. And while you can still get caught in a theater, the likelihood of being caught is less so compared to the others. Plus, I've had it happen. I was in HS with my girlfriend, and we went to see Monsters vs. Aliens because we were bored and the movie was cheap. The theater wasn't packed, but there was another couple closer to our age that sat in the back and the dude spent a good chunk of the movie fingering his girlfriend. Super f***ed up to do that in a kid's movie. Thankfully the movie was kind of old at that point and there were only a few families in the theater who all sat up front, so none of them heard. I don't think. I get why as a teenager you'd want a cheap thrill, and picking a movie that's been out long enough that most people won't be in it isn't a bad idea in and of itself. But don't pick a kid's movie. That's just wrong. The mattress store. I used to browse around on the Craigslist personals to find weird posts, and one time I found one of an old preacher with nudes that were clearly taken in a church on that green carpet churches always seem to have, so I'm gonna go with on the green carpet in a church. Mary Shelley, author of Frankenstein, used to do it on her mom's grave. Her father didn't approve of the relationship, so going to the cemetery was a cover-up for sexy time. Grandma's deathbed. A family reunion. Depends. Will the McDonald's be open when I do it hard and loud on the counter? On the Pope's coffin. During the funeral television broadcast. Depending on the type of sex it could get even more sacrilegious. Thanksgiving dinner table. Right after the blessing, knock everything off of the table and share your gratitude for Viagra with the family.